Hello. Hello. Oh, I can hear myself. That's weird.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. Let me turn some lights on. It's awfully dark in here.
Better. Yes. Anything going on? Anything new?
I do have a question for you. I've run across something that I don't quite understand. You remember that my main machine here on this floor died several weeks ago, and I picked up one that Vincente brought, and it's worked fine. But some of the subdirectories, when I put the old hard drives in this machine, I'm locked out of them. I don't have ownership or permissions. And I have been able to go through on individual files and individual directories and unlocked many of them, but I haven't found any command, even though I've looked online, that would unlock everything and reassign ownership to everyone.
It's probably more complicated than it should be. Was your old drive wasn't encrypted, right? I mean,
No, it was not.
Okay.
Well, and
No. Okay, what else is in my basket of things?
Well, I didn't want to get in front of the camera, but I guess I have to here.
You want?
We'll mute him for a minute.
it is the same drive. I've taken it out of one machine and put it in the new machine. So all of the permissions and ownership should not have changed.
I am probably not the right person because it's been way too long since I have messed with Windows and the permissions with Windows and all that.
Yeah.
Art might have a clue. So he's got the machine that died. He moved the hard drive to the new machine, and some of the files he doesn't have access to.
Just a moment.
Okay.
I gotta get my sound.
Okay. Art's not
Okay.
quite here yet.
Just a moment. I technical difficulties.
We understand. That is our life. Technical difficulties.
Getting refueled here. My erstwhile assistant. Let's see. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Certainly.
Okay.
He's having a hard time
Now
hearing us, maybe.
speak.
Can you hear us?
I can't hear you at all.
Oh, that explains a lot.
Oh shit. Okay. I
Excellent.
assume you, from Mike's face, you heard me. Okay.
It explains a lot that you can't hear us. Um, when Steve shows up, if Steve shows up, he would be another one to ask because he does deal with Windows through his work. So
Yeah, I
I
figured,
it's been far too long since I have screwed around with Windows. I couldn't tell you other than dump it and get something else. I couldn't tell you.
well, here's the thing. I thought it might be this version that I'm using on this machine because Vincente gave me a
Uh,
copy of 8.1.
yeah.
And I thought, oh, no, so I tried this same drive on a Windows 7 machine, which is what it came out of, Windows 10 and Windows 11. And I'm having the same problem on all the machines. Something has caused a change in the drive at some point. And I,
Yeah. And probably 20 years ago I could have answered that like that and told you exactly what was wrong with it.
well, I've been able to go through and do individual uh, folders and individual files. And I have been successful in doing some files and the children, the subdirectories and all that. But I can't use the same technique on everything.
Yeah,
It's just a very frustrating type thing.
yeah.
The one file that was really, really important was all my unbilled time and work. So I had not billed for probably 5 months, and that was a substantial worry.
Yeah.
So I've gotten that back.
Well, that's good. That's the important.
Yeah.
Get paid, get paid. Um, you, oh, I think now, like I said, I haven't done this in many, many years, but I think you can boot the CD or one of the versions of Windows that you have and go to the command prompt and change the permissions there.
I have looked that up and have in fact done that.
Okay. And that didn't really work.
I went through and said, um, I believe it was disk select, and I got the correct disk, and then I went through and said to remove the attribute of read only
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
And
That didn't really work.
I must have done it, but it didn't do it.
Yeah. All right. Steve's here. You deal with
Hello.
howdy. You deal with Windows a little bit more than I have. The old machine that he had that died that had Windows on it,
Mhm.
he moved the hard drive to the new machine, and now there's permission errors, and he can't access some of his files. And I
It
don't really know how to fix that.
it's not only files, uh, in individual files, but it's also sometimes directories that I'm locked out of. And so my strategy has been to go in and change the ownership of a directory and the children,
Yeah.
and then go back, close down the properties, and then reopen it up and go in under share and say, okay, everyone read and write permissions and extend that. And it is like I'm rolling craps as to whether it will. There's 4 files. 2 of them may come up that I can open them, and 2 of them will say, you don't have permission to even look at them. And I thought, well, this is pretty cool. I'll make a copy of this and bring that down on a flash drive. But you can't see the files even. So if I say, copy Mike's new file to flash drive, it'll go through and say, okay, here's 42 files that you don't have permission to copy. So I didn't know whether anybody had run across this or not. I'll continue to pursue it, but if somebody had an aha, I know how to fix that.
Yeah, well, like I said, 20 years ago, I probably could have told you off the top of my head how to fix that.
Yeah.
But
I think what I would try to do is use Robocopy to copy to an external drive, something like that. So you run Robocopy as an admin, and it has switches that you can apply to add users to it. But I don't think I'd try to change it where it's sitting. I'm trying to figure out why it's even asking. The only thing I can think is maybe secure boot had been enabled and now isn't, or hadn't been and now is. But
Well,
I'm more likely to go with had been and isn't.
okay. Now let me fill that out just a little bit.
But at this point, you can't turn it on if it had been, if it had been off.
I was thinking the same thing, but it's only some of his files, which means some of his files he has access to. So it can't be a secure boot or an encryption issue.
Yeah, and I have tried it on an old Windows 7 laptop. I have tried it on this machine I'm on right now, which is running 8.1. I have tried it on a Windows 10 and on a Windows 11 machine. I have an external adapter so that I can just plug it in with a USB drive and a power pack. And all of those machines look at that drive and tell me the same thing about what files I can look at and which I cannot. So I may have luck to go through and just keep pounding away a file folder at a time, as opposed to I had looked up on the internet like disk select. I was telling Leroy, and had been able to go through and remove the read-only protection, and that should have been able to do it on my main folder and all of my subfolders.
Right.
And it didn't. It did a few of my folders, but not all of them. They were somehow or other treated differently.
So I'm going to assume that you and your wife share files and aren't hiding stuff from each other. What I would do, why did that just click off?
You disappeared, Steve.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I wasn't touching anything. Um,
Welcome to Zoom.
on Windows.
Oh,
Um,
This machine's highly infectious.
it's just a Windows thing. Um, if I were the one doing the playing with this, I would boot up the machine with something like System Rescue CD, mount the NTFS drive, and copy all of the files in /user out as root to some external drive, and then copy them back in under Windows. Um, probably on a new installation of Windows. I once NTFS gets borked, it doesn't get unborked.
Okay.
that's
I mean, you might want to try just running NTF fix or NT fix. I don't remember which it is. Also on System Rescue CD.
mhm.
Okay.
Wonderful piece of software.
That's the software I forgot about. That we use that stuff. That was a wonderful 20 years ago. That was wonderful software. I'm glad it's still around.
11.3, I think.
Um,
Oh.
my other thought was when I was uh doing virus recovery and backing up hard drives, I rarely would run across a problem that a Linux boot couldn't copy at least the files. Um, especially
Oh, yeah.
especially an unencrypted drive. I would rarely come across a problem. So you could just boot into a Linux distro and possibly do the same thing, copy your files to an external drive and then copy them back to the window to the new install.
Okay. Um, the system rescue would have to be able to copy the files because I cannot do a straight copy. I am prohibited from copying the files.
Yeah, but System Rescue is a Linux distribution and it really doesn't care about things like NTFS permissions. You
Okay.
could boot up off of that and rsync from where it's at to where you want it, and you should be golden.
All right.
As
Well,
long as it's not
I'll continue
copying it to another NTFS partition. As long as you're not copying it to another NTFS partition, you copy it to something like exFAT, which will see anything up to a 4 gig file, I think. So ISO files you may have issues with, but yeah, you can copy them to an external drive and then copy them back pretty gracefully. And when they go back onto the NTFS, they'll get the proper permissions.
Okay. Um, I I only have a couple of ISO files, Windows 10 and Windows 7. I may have a couple of other large ones, but they're on another drive. I'm not having any problems with those. No.
Then you should
Anyway,
be
I
fine.
will work on this, and I will bring my laptop and this drive next week. And
Okay.
if anybody has a miracle fairy dust that they can sprinkle on it, if I haven't fixed it by then, I'll dust off a good place.
That works.
It'll be all right. So
Round numbers, how many megs, gigs, or T of files are we talking about?
This drive is a 2 terabyte drive, and I'm thinking it is about 30% full.
Oh, okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll bring
Now,
toys.
the majority of the files that are on there are like 34,000 photographs, and they are not affected. I was able to get in and look at all of those. I went to look at my medical records, and it's a teeny tiny little subdirectory with just a handful of files in it. But I got a COVID vaccination. I went to post it on the file today, and it's like, oh, you don't have permission to write there. It's like frustrating. So anyway, I thought I had this fixed, and then I keep discovering more places that it is not fixed.
That's one of the reasons I switched to Linux. It is far more common for that sort of thing to happen than you realize.
Yeah,
Windows is great until Windows is broken, and then it's, well, time to reinstall.
well, the problem with Windows is it could be a half a dozen different reasons why it broke. And none of them actually fix the problem.
I was looking up something the other day. So the Siemens has decided that we can no longer use the not screen share, but screenshot software that I really like, which was called Greenshot, because it hasn't been updated in a long time. Not that it's broken, not that there's a security issue, but they haven't updated it in 2 years. It's because it effing works. So they've decided that we can't have it, and they went and removed it. And we're supposed to instead use whatever is default in Windows.
Some kind of snap.
Yeah. And it takes a snapshot and it saves it to the clipboard. Okay, that's not bad. If you need to paste it in Teams or something, that's fine. But if you're trying to put it on a website so that you can show users click here, then here, then here, you've got to open up Paint and paste and export it as a PNG file. Yep. Surely that file exists somewhere in the file system. So I'm looking for, where is the file saved? Oh, piece of cake. It's stored in this folder. Oh, that's where it was in Windows 8. In Windows 10, they moved the folder 6 times. Every time there's a major update to Windows 10, they changed it. It's been in 3 different places in Windows 11. It's like a 45-page thread of where the hell did you put my file? And I can't find it on this machine. And then they give you some long PowerShell script, run this, and it should find it. It doesn't. Just
hear from Microsoft.
Windows makes me livid. I don't mind change for betterment, but change because they got a new kid in as a
intern,
junior programmer. Yeah, an intern. Just and this makes it into production over and over and over again.
What about not just moving your files around, but adding new files for the sake of adding new files? Or hiding a directory that all your stuff's in.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Oh, all your stuff is in that directory. Well, where's the directory? It's hidden. We can't even find it when you do a show hidden file directory list. What do you mean? It's gone.
Here's my theory, and that is the new guy is too lazy to understand how the old system works, So rather than try to find out where it went and how it works, he just stuffs it over someplace else. So every time you get somebody who touches this, they're not bothering to be consistent. They're just throwing it into another directory.
Pretty much. Yep.
Yeah.
Though I have to admit, this is happening more and more in Linux as well. Younger programmers get in and go, oh, there's got to be a better way. And they reinvent the wheel and they don't realize that, oh, you probably ought to put ball bearings on that axle.
Yeah.
And so they make a wonderful wheel, but it doesn't really turn with the rest of the ecosystem. And luckily, because it's open source, enough people see it, and some of the old graybeards come in and go, no, dum dum, you've got to do this first. And there's a convention for why/user exists and why/lib exists.
Yeah.
And they tend to get a good talking to. And then you see nothing from them for like 3 months, and then they release decent software. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Yeah. I was going to say the same. Linux is starting to see some of that creep too.
Well, Steve's little rant there is like an echo in an echo chamber.
Yeah, I know.
I've ever spoken to has the same opinion of change for change's sake.
Uh, it's version 1.1. Let's change everything. That is not how version 1.1 works.
So at work, because we're closing up fairly soon, they've told everybody clean out your cubes and stuff. And so I'm running around looking at what people are throwing out and bringing it back to my cube. And what I found was the Unix System 5 Release 4
Wow.
System Administrator's Guide. I've got the full set. There are 18 books in this set, and they're all this thick.
Wow.
This is written by AT&T for Unix Press in 1998, I think, maybe 2000. But it is absolutely glorious. There's
It's
1990.
It's why things work the way things work.
Yep.
And don't mess with them.
It is amazing how much of this book from 1990 still applies to Unix. It's a good thing. This is 4 years before Linux was invented.
Yeah. So, where are you moving?
The physical hardware is being co-located down by the airport.
You're talking about the Claremont Airport?
No.
CVG.
Cincinnati, CVG, yeah.
Okay.
So I'll be going there once a week probably. And the offices are being relocated to the office building behind Lowe's up off of Mason Montgomery. If you know where 71 Fields Erdel and Mason Montgomery cross, it's just north of there.
Up by Costco.
No. Well, I mean, it's not too far from Costco, about 2 miles.
Cluster of car dealerships is?
Yes, but on the other side of the road.
Okay.
I'm sorry, not Mason Montgomery. Mason, what is that? Duh.
At this point, my wife would say, go down to where the horse is tied to the fence and turn left.
We me and Patty went up today to Fairborn to see one of the grad kids. He graduated from fifth grade. He's going to sixth grade. You know, it's a thing that they do now. They have a little graduation. So I'm following the the middle kid to get out of this neighborhood that the school's in because I really don't know where I'm at or anything. I mean, sure, I can get around Fairborn, but I'm not driving down neighborhoods, right? And she go, "Oh, it's easy. It's easy. You just go down here to the main road and you turn right." I said, "Okay." So I went down. I was following her, and cars got in front of us. And I went down to the main road, and I went, "There is no way I should be turning right onto this road." So she pulls up along next to me, and I said, "Are you sure I'm turning right?" She goes, "No, no, that way," which is left.
The other right.
The other right. And I went, "You said right." And she said, "No, no, I always said this way. You need to go this way." Why do you think people get so lost when you give directions? Because I should have known. I mean, she's been around for like 30 plus years. I should have known. She tells directions about as well as her mom does. So
Julie and I have taken up the position when we're giving directions is you turn left, left here, and you turn right, right here.
yeah.
And that kind of eliminates turn left, right here.
Well, we went up there a little early and went to a couple of shops in the mall and stuff and just were goofing off. Patty texts me and says, "Come here, you've got to see this." But she's like 4 or 5 shops away from me. I have no idea where come here is. Okay, fine. I will come here. I'm here. I mean, what kind of directions is come here?
I'm already here.
I'm already here. You were in the car with me. We are here.
A number of years ago, Julie and I rented bikes when we were in Washington, D.C. And they were dirt cheap as long as you didn't go over a half an hour. If you went like 31 minutes, then it became just outrageously expensive.
Yeah.
So you had to dock them. And even if you docked them for like a minute, they would reset and you could take off. So we're coming back past the White House, and there's a bunch of commotion going on. And I see the opportunity to go. And I take off, and Julie is right behind me, and someone opens a car door and blocks her. So she has to wait until the door is closed, the people are cleared, and by that time, I'm hell and gone. So she rides over, and I'm looking and I look back and see her ride past the intersection. So no problem. Get out the cell phone and dial her phone, and it rings in my backpack.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, okay, come right here.
You know, I wear the cargo pants, and Patty has a bad habit of sticking her phone in my cargo pants pocket. It doesn't do any good if you don't have it.
Yep. Yep.
So I feel your pain.
I try to always give directions as north, south, east, west.
Yes.
Well,
Can't do
only
that with women.
only a certain percentage of the population actually knows where north is.
Yeah.
Well,
I find that most guys are pretty good with that. I find that most women are not.
Yeah.
And if you tell people mile markers on a highway, they look at you like, I can't use the expression my brother-in-law does, but it's basically a portion of your anatomy that's normally between your legs is hanging out of your forehead.
My we were down in Kentucky last month, and my mom was down there with us, and she was driving herself, no problem. She knew exactly where she was. She got everywhere she got, but then she was like, "Okay, I'm not exactly sure how to get back to the highway." I'm like, "Okay, it's pretty simple. You go back. Make sure you go north." Oh, it's a good thing you told me that because she forgot she was in Kentucky. She would have gone south again, further into Kentucky. I'm like, it doesn't work. You got to go north. Go north. That'll get you back to Cincinnati. Remember, you're in Kentucky. And she always tells the story about she picked up her mother many years ago at CVG and got on 275 and looped around 275 twice before
Oh,
they realized that they were way overdue.
years ago, I was dating a young lady named Debbie, and she was from Arizona and didn't travel a whole bunch. And she drove from Cincinnati back to Arizona, spent 2 weeks with her family, and then came back here. And I had given her directions to get here that was basically follow 10 to 35 to, I don't remember. She basically tried to cross the country diagonally, more or less. And she got into this area in Kentucky, and I was in Fairfield at that point, and I wasn't trying to tell her, and this was before we had cell phones. I had tried to give her directions that kept her off of smaller streets, all interstate stuff. When you get to 275, take 275 west. Stay on 275 until you're back in Ohio and take exit whatever 62, I think Fairfield is, or 32, whatever. And she calls me from somewhere in Indiana in tears because the numbers were going the wrong direction, and then they started all over when she changed states, and
Yeah.
it was not a good thing. I'm like, just stay on the road, keep going. You'll
Yeah. Yeah. 275 confuses a bunch of people because it crosses like 3 states.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was driving the cab, 275, we would always get people call and ask for directions, and they were lost on 275. They just wanted to know how to get back to 75 or 71 or whatever. And I was like, well, calling a cab company is probably smart. I mean, we know where we're at most of the time,
But don't argue with the driver.
but don't argue with the driver. But yeah, it is quite interesting how men and women tell directions and how we just sit there and look at them like, are you sure that that's right? Because like today, I asked like 4 times if that was right because it didn't sound right. But she lives there. She lives in the neighborhood. Okay, I'll take her word for it. And then she
Yep.
said, then she looked at me, cars piling up behind us. She looked at me and she said, "Oh yeah, you could go that way, but you gotta go that way and then go left, left, and right." And I'm like, left, left, and right. Is there any particular road? No, I'm just going to go left. I know where I'm at if I go left. Don't tell me road names. Don't tell me nothing. Just left, right. Oh, okay. Thanks.
One of my more entertaining ones with Marla, especially, I get directions in relation to where people that she knows live. But I don't know, and she knows like 12 people by every name. And she never uses last names. So it's always turn left at Amy's old house. Okay, how old? Oh, she lived there about 10 years ago. Okay, which Amy? I yeah, it's fun. So I posted a link to the building I'm pretty sure we're moving into. Um, it's yeah, it's off of Mason Montgomery behind Lowe's. It's on Duke Drive and it's north of I-71 and Fields Erdel.
It's over there near the auto malls, the auto
Yep,
mall or
but
whatever
the
that
other
is.
side of I-71.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's King Toyota up there. I know that.
Yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of mall
Well, it's my
automotive.
my reference is it's relatively close to Costco,
Mhm.
which we seem to go to frequently.
There's a pizza place down there. That's my reference.
Okay.
Oh,
If you know where
There
the pizza
used
place is, there
there
used to
used
be.
to be a DeBella's.
Yeah,
I really liked DeBella's.
yep.
It's gone.
Well, there used to be a place called Tower Pizza, and I think they're gone. That was right down in that area, and I think
I
I
think
think
back,
COVID wiped them out.
I'm thinking back to when I was in high school. I went down to southern Kansas where they had been doing strip mining during the 20s and the 30s, and it was just nothing but spoil everywhere and straight line roads. And the person I was riding with said, "See that house that used to be there?"
Okay.
And I knew exactly what he meant, but no, I could not see the house that used to be there.
You go down about 4.5 blocks. When you see the burnt down house that's not there anymore, you turn right.
Yeah.
Then you go down another 6 blocks and you look for the gas station that's been closed for 20 years and turn left.
The old joke, Bill and Hillary Clinton are driving along, and Bill looks out the window and says, "Didn't you used to date the guy that lived in that lives in that trailer behind the filling station?" He said, "Yeah." And he says, "Just think, you could be, if you'd married him, you'd be living in that trailer." And she said, "If I'd married him, he'd be president."
Mm,
Old joke, sorry.
mm. Uh, so.
So that really messes up your commute.
Yes, no. I probably only need to go in 1 or 2 days a week tops.
Oh, okay. Well, you had basically your commute now is like rolling out of bed. I mean, you've got what, 2, 3 miles, 4 miles?
It's more than that. It's a yeah, okay, maybe about that. I don't know. It's 15 minutes to get to work from here.
Yeah.
Um, my only issue is now it's on the other side of the Little Miami River. And I
The other,
don't know why, but people hit that hill from both directions and they slam on the brakes. And it is normal for traffic to be backed up from Loveland all the way to Milford every
Yep.
morning. So, yeah, I'm going to just avoid that altogether as much as I can.
Well, the new commute has got to be like 15 miles or so, isn't it?
Yeah, about that.
Hmm.
That's not a big deal.
And
Again,
the,
I'm going to be working from home more than not.
So what are they doing with that old building there? That's a huge piece of real estate they got there.
Yep. But they don't own it. We've been leasing it for like
Oh, really?
18 years.
Oh, man.
Somebody's going to retain possession of it. One of their things was that it didn't have any solar power, and Siemens is big in solar. And I'm like, okay, the place you're moving to doesn't have solar either. So I thought they should have covered the entire parking lot in solar panels. That'd be nice. Get to park in the shade. That'd
That's
generate
true.
probably 30% of the power that building uses.
But you are, let's see, you are co-locating all of your heavy usage.
Yes.
I assume that your heavy usage is your server farm and that sort of thing,
Mhm.
and the office is relatively small.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know how big that building is, but it's 3 big floors, a little floor, and the basement. And my office is in the basement. Normally there are round numbers about 10 people on my floor. But more than half of it is server racks. Um, Currently we've got about 180 racks and we're trying to get down to under 60. And we're pretty pretty well online for that goal. We're moving stuff around and making it more dense. We had an awful lot of racks that had 3 servers in it. Now we don't have hardly any racks that have servers that have fewer than 20-ish. We're at the point now where we can't put more servers in a lot of the racks because they just can't handle the power requirements. We can't get PDUs that'll carry enough current for the servers we're dropping in there.
So is this all new hardware or are they moving old hardware?
There's some Sun equipment that'll be moving. That's some of what I'm moving. We have almost all new hardware, but there's some old IBM stuff. There's some Sun stuff. There's
Well, the Sun stuff
you know,
you don't have any choice about. I assume they're no longer available as new equipment.
oh no, they haven't been available as new equipment since 2004.
That's about right. Yeah.
So think about that. At that age, it absolutely has to have spinning drives in it.
Oh, yeah.
Um, that have been spinning nonstop since it was brand new. We've got stuff going back to literally the late 80s. We have equipment from 1988 that's still running. We've got a lot of stuff from the 90s. And as long as we have customers that are paying us to develop code on it, we're going to develop code on it.
I did a calculation one time about the tip of a saw blade that was passing over onto my side of the fence when I was doing some shaping. And um, it had to do with the fact that I counted fingers before I started and after I stopped, and they were equal. But that one of the passes had taken a little rubber gasket that I had down with a clamp and taken a bite out of that. And it's like, that could have been my finger because it was on my side of the fence. And I was calculating in the 2 hours it took for me to shape all the wood, how far that tip had passed at 90 miles an hour, how far it had gone. If your disc is a 5-inch disc, thereabouts, and be what, 45 years, how far has it traveled? It probably is pretty close to exiting the solar system.
Yeah.
Been going a while. I have lots and lots of stuff that has 20 years of uptime on it. I mean, it not 20 years uptime, but has been running 20 years.
Are
It's fun.
are they are they planning to leave it powered while it's transitioning, or
No,
no?
and
They're going to
I don't
shut
think
it
those
down.
drives are going to start back up.
Yeah. There
I've
was,
dealt with
yeah,
I've dealt with lots and lots and lots and lots of machines that will run fine as long as they run fine, but let them cool down and you get electrical problems, you get drive problems, bearings are frozen. Um, I can't count how many drives I've had fail and power them up, smack them gently with a screwdriver handle to get them to spin up, copy all the data off,
yeah.
let them go.
There was, it's been a while, but there was a company in Middletown that was moving, and they weren't moving very far, but they had a machine that they were really, really worried about because its drives had not stopped. And it wasn't even 20 years. It was, you know, 10 years, something like
Mhm.
that. They ended up using big deep cell batteries to keep these things
Spinning.
spinning. And they moved them on the back of a big, huge honking truck,
Yep.
pushed the cabinets up on the thing, and they had the batteries on a pallet, and they very gently drove it spinning as it was
Yeah,
spinning
I did
to
that
the
with a
new
mail
location.
server. I had to move a mail server across Nashville at one point, and I put it on a UPS, put it in the car, and drove there the whole way with that thing going beep, beep.
Beep, beep.
Yeah, the whole
Road run.
operation, I watched the whole operation. I was like, wow, you guys are spending a small fortune to move these servers. Of course, I guess the data was more important than the money.
Yeah,
Oh
that's
yeah.
stupid though. I have gotten almost all of my personal infrastructure down to VMs with storage off of shared storage, and that's replicated, and I can go get a replica and bring stuff back up. I try to avoid anything having a drive that matters.
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking, you know, these drives are old. You're not going to find drives now probably that are in any better condition because they're all old.
Oh yeah, they're on the systems that I feel are least important, they're 30 megabyte SCSI drives.
Yeah.
And not ultra fast wide SCSI or any of that, just standard SCSI.
Just and
Same thing that was in the original Mac.
the big fat boys. So sounds fun. I am actually looking on Gov Deals, or I have been looking on Gov Deals for the past month or so. I've finally decided that I want to have a NAS drive and I don't want to spend a whole lot of money to do it. So I'm trying to get a hold of a cheap desktop server. Or,
What's your budget?
cheap.
Give me a second. I'll be right back.
Uh-oh. Steve probably has a bunch of machines.
So next week we are where?
Library. Westchester. Midpoint. Hey, hi puppies.
Round numbers. How much data did you want to store?
20 terabytes.
Whoa. Okay. Yeah, that isn't going to be cheap.
Yeah, I know. I figure I'm going to spend more on the hard drives than I am on the server.
You can pick up 20 terabyte hard drives right now for about $200.
Yeah.
I would try to pare that down, but I'd do two 20 terabyte drives in RAID 1.
Yeah.
Or honestly, I'd probably try to do 14 terabytes in RAID 5.
Well, I was actually thinking 4 or more, maybe 8 terabytes, probably in some configuration of both performance and storage space. Because that would
Do you have any power limitations?
not really anything that I mean, it's a house, so I probably won't be able to run it while I'm 3D printing or something, but it doesn't have to stay on 24 hours. It's just something that I store all my files locally and then I put them on external drives, and I spend hours doing it. And if I had a NAS somewhere sitting, I would just get rid of all the files at one time and just save them right onto the NAS. And even if I have to turn it off for a while I'm printing or something else is going on, I mean, at least it would be faster. I mean, I could still save files on my local machines in the case that I had to shut the NAS off. And plus a NAS would give me, what is that?
That is a CM3588 NAS board.
Ooh.
With the CM3588 module installed.
Okay.
Normally these were like $200, and there was a fellow on Reddit in Home Lab Sales, I think, that was selling these for $90 each. They'll use M.2 NVMe 2280, 2242, 22, whatever, I don't know, all the different sizes. It'll hold 4 of them and run them all at PCIe 3 speeds. It's got 2.5 gig Ethernet on it, 2 HDMI outputs. It has an HDMI input.
Cool.
they're preloaded with Open Media Vault.
Okay.
Um,
See, I don't really need that, but
I've got the storage that I'm concerned about down to 5 terabytes. Movies and stuff, yeah, okay, whatever. I I can always get those back, I think. I know
Yeah.
enough people that collect movies that I'm not too worried about that. But
yeah.
this thing is supposed to draw somewhere around 8.5 watts. I have 3 of them. I'm going to put 2 of them in my rack here, and they'll run as failover, and one at one of the kids' houses, and it'll be my offsite.
Okay.
Plus, because it's 5T, I can buy spinning drives, 5T spinning drives as external 2.5 inch USB attached stuff for $120.
Mhm.
I'll keep 2 of those in rotation as well.
Yeah.
And I've already got one,
Well,
but
I'm thinking, you know, knock on wood, I haven't really had any drives fail, but
Oh,
have
don't say
have
that.
have
Oh,
well, yeah,
oh
exactly.
no, no.
I said knock on wood now, but having a NAS and having a rated system, that would solve all those problems. So I'll look at something like that. Do you can you
my,
put the name in the chat or
yeah,
something so I could?
yeah. Hold on.
I really did figure I was going to spend way more on the hard drives than I was on the server or the or whatever. But GovDeals seems to want to sell servers in like groups of like 6 or 7.
72.
Yeah, I don't need that many. So you can get them relatively reasonable, but you gotta buy like 100 of them. And then I would be, you guys want servers?
Yeah.
For
I'd be,
every 2 servers you buy, you get a free 3D printer.
oh, that how that works. That well, I'd be like Ray. Just come and get some of this stuff. Just
Yeah.
I bought a bunch of stuff. Just come and get some. Oh, okay, cool. Thank you.
Hmm.
I'll take a look at that.
Um,
That probably will work really well for what I want to do.
so you want to go 90 instead of 8, and get the bigger power supply.
Okay.
And just for reference, that's what effectively the same thing is on eBay.
Okay.
So $90 is pretty darn cheap.
Yeah. Well, I figured I didn't want to spend any more than 120 for some plus the drives, obviously. But I when I was talking to Barry about it because there was a group, and as the bidding was going around, I asked Barry if he was bidding on that stuff, and he said no, he really didn't have any interest in it. And I would have split it with him or something if we could have got it, but um it ended up going, I think there was 4 machines and they ended up going for $700, I think. So slightly more than what I really wanted to spend on old servers that needed hard drives. But I figured most of the time you can get them $100 or less. but you got to buy like 6 of them or 10 of them or
Yeah. Um, if you find something where you've got to buy multiples, let me know.
okay.
And this second link is actually closer. And so coming from Amazon, $180, coming from this guy, 80. So yeah.
Yeah, that's
And I did get the little serial interface, which apparently if you want to change to some OSs, you need to use that. So I have 3 of those too.
okay. Cool. I will take a look at that because that's the sweet spot where I want to be on like a server. So, and I looked at a couple of dedicated NAS boxes and they're just insanely priced for what they are.
Hmm. And if you want one of these things, which are pretty nice, but NVMe is not inexpensive right now, though you can buy used NVMe drives as well.
Okay.
Um, but they're pretty nice, and I don't know. I've bought a few things from this guy. The last 2 that I bought, he didn't charge me extra for the shipping and the power supplies. So I got those for
Oh,
160 for the pair.
nice.
And he is online at the moment.
Nice. I
Where
don't
are
have
they?
a I don't have a Reddit account anymore, so I don't,
Seriously?
yeah, I don't really know why I got rid of Reddit, but I got rid of it.
Uh, it is a rabbit hole. I have spent way too much time redditing.
Reddit. I really haven't done a whole lot of social media for quite a while. Just it was fun for a while and then it just kind of wasn't.
It
So,
becomes a sponge for time.
yeah. Yeah. Well, my current sponge is cleaning up all the code that's in my code directory of, for robots and stuff. So I don't know if everybody saw the um, email.
Solve
Yeah.
the battery problem.
I put it on the reconditioner um like 3 times and it finally just decided to work. So I don't know if it was just so dead that it wasn't taking a charge or what its deal was, but I've got
What kind of batteries does it have?
what is this thing? It is, I'm blind, 16340, 700 milliamp hour.
In the motors of the roaming chassis
Yep.
drain 3 times more current than the driver. The peak current, when they are starting, they call it the stall current is the peak is 1.25 amps.
Yeah,
The roaming.
I probably need to move that to a different chassis, a motor that doesn't. So I spent some time playing around with LVGL library
Uh-huh.
and I got the sliders working and a go button and a reverse button. I want to add a spin button, spin left and spin right. But the sliders, so if it's got a check, if the checkbox is set, then the sliders work together. If the checkbox is unset, then we get independent motor control. So, and I need to fix the numbers below it because they don't show the right value right now either, but it's because of another reason. So if I've got it set for like forward motion, so both motors are spinning at the same rate or really, really close. And then I can go and make one go really slow and one go really fast. And this one, there it goes. It's going slower. Don't know if you could see that. That one's going pretty fast and that one's going
Pretty slow, yeah.
very slow. And then we could do the same thing in reverse. So that one's going slow and that one's going fast. So now I can tell it do like a tank kind of thing and turn it, but it doesn't have fine spinny control yet. So I want to add a spin motion to the interface so that one motor actually spins backwards and one motor spins forwards and it will spin in place. Just haven't had a chance to do that. I found software called, what is it called? Easy something. Where is it? Easy Studio, which lets you design interfaces for LVGL, and you still have to do the logic behind the buttons yourself, but it makes the design of the interface like really, really easy. So, so adding a few buttons isn't going to be a problem. But I thought it was interesting. I got it working, and it's not shuddering and going. But it's also not getting nearly as warm. So I think this battery had just gotten down to the point where it just wasn't putting out enough current and getting it under conditioner charger finally fixed it. after 3 tries, it finally fixed it. So did Steve freeze or is he? No, he's moving.
No. No.
He looked a little blurry there for a second, like he froze up. But
Just a
that's what I've
little
been.
blurry today.
You're just a little blurry today. So, I like I said, I've been cleaning up all the code, looking at all my many microcontrollers. There's some microcontrollers in this box I've never used, and I'm like, huh, I don't even remember buying some of these. plug them in, and they've still got the original demo code on them. That means I've never used them for anything.
I don't even remember why I bought them. But I've got 4 of these things. That's not showing very well.
No.
It's a
Original demo code.
ESP32.
Yep.
Yep.
The ESP room V3s.
Oh, I have
Maybe.
dozens of those things.
I had a specific project I bought these for. I don't remember what the project was. And obviously, I just opened the packages.
Yep, brand spanking new. Node MCU from back in the day. I am I cleaned out part of the shed and I oh yeah,
Is it
Raspberry Pi
ESP?
and a C3.
Go.
Here you go. Here's a really useful controller. Raspberry Pi Raspberry Pi 2040 NeoPixel Matrix.
I got one of those too. Actually, I'm pretty sure I ordered one while you were showing that one.
Probably. I still haven't really found a good use for it. So I've been cleaning out. This one, this microcontroller is kind of cool. It has a temperature sensor on board, and it's in the wrong spot, and it's reading the temperature off of the ESP32. So it's about
You want
20
to
degrees
be,
higher than
you
it
want to
needs to be.
see ESP32's
Oh, yep.
3, and here are 4.
31 degrees C is 60, 70 degrees.
It's higher than that.
It's higher than that, isn't it?
25 is about 90, about normal temperature for human.
Well, it's going up too. The longer this is on, the hotter it gets. This thing, the temperature thing is in the wrong spot, and it's like right next to the hottest thing on the
Yeah.
board. And that may have been the whole purpose of it. I don't know.
Well, I'm going to step back to where we were talking about things that had tried to take my finger.
Okay.
Okay. Can you see that?
No, I can't see anything.
How about now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So this thing is tip speed is about 90 miles an hour. And if you look, what you see is this solid, but you see it as a shadow.
Mm-hmm.
The real edge is out here another half an inch.
Oops.
Yeah. Let me stop that for a second. Come back. Okay. Can you just see that that's not quite round up there at the top?
Oh yeah. Got a
Not
flat
quite
on.
not quite round.
Round.
Yeah.
That's the portion that came over where my fingers were.
Mm.
Oh really?
So so you're keeping track of how many times you should have lost your fingers, huh?
No.
Oh.
My butt is still puckered from that. That was 10 years ago. Every time I see that image, it's like, it's scary.
Yeah. Um, let me look something up here real fast. Yeah, that's what I thought. You remember a couple weeks ago we were talking about uh ESPs that would fit in wall switches?
Say that again.
ESP32s that would fit in
Okay.
a wall switch or a outlet or
Wall box.
wall box. I forgot that I had that M5 stack. It's called a DIN meter.
Nice.
It's one I don't know how they measure DIN. It's a single DIN
You.
unit, a single unit. Um, but on the back, there's a battery that, of course, you can disconnect, and there's a 36-volt DC input. So
I'm assuming 10 to 30 volts.
it says 6 to 36,
Okay.
but
Yeah. Wide
yeah.
range.
I think most of your industrial stuff is probably closer to the 24 to 36.
Yeah.
But that might work well for a wall switch. I think, one of those, yeah, you got one of the cheap yellow displays too.
Yeah. Just to play with. See if I can get it to do what I want.
But I think, those toggle, not toggle, the ones that are double wide switches that it's not really a toggle switch. I don't know what they call those switches. It like a rocker switch.
Yeah.
I think that would fit in one of the rocker switch holes.
Pretty close. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you got a little kanabi that you could play with, and you can orient your screen so it's in this view instead of that view.
Is that a touch screen?
This is not, but it's got
A knob and push button. Yeah.
the knob and the push button. And it's a fairly accurate knob. Yeah. I haven't had any real problems with the Kanabi. The Kanabi. Um, so it's $25 from M5, but then you're going to get hit with a tariff if they ever decide to start shipping back to the United States. So they have not yet started shipping to the US again.
I got two of the cheap yellow displays and two of the capacitive ones that you were talking about. Yeah, I'm just playing.
Yeah.
But,
Well,
but I want to tie them into Home Assistant. And Home Assistant does most of the stuff. They end up being configured by a, a little script. I forget what YAML.
yeah.
You've got a YAML script on the Home Assistant server, and you load a single image on this thing, and it has an ID. When it checks in, it says I'm ID XYZ, and then it pulls the right YAML script to show whatever graphics and do whatever functions you want. And then it either operates as just a display or a display and an interrupting thing. So if you touch it, it figures out what you want and sends back a message. User just touched it, XY.
Be careful. I was just touched.
Yep. Something should be changing soon.
Yeah. Well, that's what my robot controller is a cheap yellow display. Of course,
Any idea if these have a wide input voltage range?
I can only imagine that. I don't know. Maybe Vicente, do you know what the input range is?
What?
On the cheap yellow displays, any idea what the input voltage range is? Can you bypass the USB and go? It doesn't look like it. I don't see any buck hardware on there.
They have a battery connector. They
They
have
do.
a charger.
Yeah.
It does have a battery connector.
I don't know if mine does or not. I've got a speaker connector.
It depends on which model.
Yeah. But there are many with the same screen, but different connectors.
Yeah.
And
This
this
connector is USB-C or micro USB?
This is micro USB, and it's an ESP32-2432 SO28, which my understanding is this is the most common one.
The last letter is an R or is a C?
The last letter
Or the model.
is an S, 2432 S028.
Did it come with a little pin?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a resistive.
Resistor.
Yeah. I've also got two of the capacitive ones, but I haven't even opened them yet.
So
I will at some point.
my resistive one does not have a battery connector, but the capacitive ones do have a battery connector.
Okay, cool.
So the capacitive ones are just better. The resistive ones are a little pain in the butt to get working correctly. But I am looking on the Amazon page and it says 5 volts. It says its input voltage is 5 volts. I would imagine that since most of the batteries are 3.7 volts, it would work 3.7 to 5 volts. But it probably doesn't have a real wide range of.
And that's not a big deal. The end goal is to have a car battery in the garage that if I lose power, it just powers stuff.
Yeah, I don't see any markings on the regulators or anything. And all it says is battery plus and minus. So that doesn't help.
Yeah, and the connectors on this are
Tiny.
ground IO 35, 22, 21,
Yeah.
and ground IO 22, 27, 3.3 volts, and speaker.
Yeah. So the resistive uses a different screen than the
Mhm.
capacitive, and they use a different, well, obviously a resistive uh, touch sensor, and otherwise they're more or less kind of the same board. I mean, the IO's kind of the same, but that resistive touchscreen is kind of a pain because you've got to calibrate it. So,
Okay.
um, the capacitive, the example that they gave for the capacitive didn't have a rotation for the screen, but that's easy enough to fix with a little math. But they're not bad boards. I think I got the resistive one for like $11 from China before all the stuff. And then I got the two capacitive ones when Vicente told me about them from Amazon for like $20 a piece. Somewhere right in that neighborhood.
They still have
Yeah,
them.
it says that it's $20.98. But there's only 15 left, so act now. And if I order within 1 minute, I can get it by Saturday. Oh my goodness. I don't think I need another one. Look, this is another example of a brand new microcontroller that I really haven't even I plugged it in to make sure it worked. That's it. But I played around with that one. I don't need another microcontroller. These this one here, this is another cheap yellow display style board, but this one was a 100% total ripoff. It's a smaller display. It doesn't have nearly as many features. It doesn't have the touch screen.
You
It
have pinouts, a lot of pins,
a lot
right?
of pins, but it doesn't have the touch screen. That's its biggest thing. That thing was, I think, $12.
Hmm.
So I mean, I feel like I got gypped with that. And of course, because I am me and these came from China, I had to buy two of them.
Take two, they're small.
This one's an interesting board. This is a that still has the original demo on it. You can't see it, but it's got the original demo on it. That's just a node cheap yellow displays. That's just a node ESP32 node MCU board with a really, really nice display on it. And that thing was cheap. That was like $6.
I have some,
Yep, you got a few,
yeah.
one or two.
I only buy the ones that has the USB-C port, you know? I don't like the USB micro.
Yeah. Well, I mean, anymore, I bought me a little adapter because I got tired of changing cables around. So that's a USB-C to micro adapter. So
My last USB-32. Mm, see.
anyway, I was saying that I was cleaning out the shed, and next week I plan on bringing a box of microcontrollers up for grabs, so I can continue to clean out my stuff. So come get stuff. Um, Actually, if you know anybody who wants to get into microcontrollers, I I will give them microcontrollers to start with. It's a lot of Arduino boards and I mean just stuff that I don't use anymore. Stuff that
I have. We can open a store
we can,
in Middletown, Radio
yes,
Shack.
yes. Come and get your stuff. Come and get I mean, there's another whole box of
Stuff.
controllers. Stuff. Another one.
Now, Leroy, you've seen my garage. Do
I
you
have.
really think I need another box of crap?
Yes, yes, you do.
Oh,
These are this one's an interesting one. This is a USB stick with a screen on it. It's got a NeoPixel on it so it can do all pretty colors. And inside the USB is an SD card, a micro SD card. So you can I don't know what you can do with that, but this is a very interesting controller. It's an ESP32.
This is the new USB-C.
Yep. This is the one I'm finding more out about it, but it's only an S2. It's an ESP32 S2. But apparently it will read USB sticks with the right software.
Hmm.
So this one's kind of interesting now. It kind of piqued my interest. I bought it by mistake, and I'm sure I paid too much for it. But I've been going through all my code and everything, cleaning up all the code and stuff, trying to figure out. I've got a lot of code, because the screens use the same or have the same drivers. So I've got a lot of duplicate code that really just needs pins changed to make it work with a different display or whatever. So it's time consuming to go through and figure out, okay, this needs to be this and that needs to be that. But that's what I've been spending a lot of time doing that. So cleaning out the shed, trying to get that ready for next week. Uh,
I've got a whole shed with nothing in it but a mower.
you need stuff, come to my house. I can hook you up with stuff to put in that shed.
I was thinking of bringing stuff to give you.
Oh, okay. I don't
I
need
got
any
one
more
thing that
snow.
was cheaper than I expected it to be, so I had to buy it. And it's interesting, and I think you'll appreciate it.
Okay. Okay. Is it just going to be a mystery for next
Oh,
week?
yeah.
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 Yeah. Because that's the way it works. Uh I've got I've got a few old uh Robert Heinlein books that I actually meant to take up to Half Price Books today and walked out the door and left them sitting on the shelf. If anybody's interested in those, I could bring those.
Absolutely. What you got?
They're part of the Lensman series, and I ended up I bought two groups of Heinlein books from two different people, and these were duplicates from both sets. I don't need two sets of the same book. So they've been well read. They've been, but they're not in bad condition. They're in well read condition. So, and I was expecting Half Price Books to look at me and go, "We'll give you $1." So I wasn't expecting like these things to be worth much of
Want to see
anything
an Apple One replica for $1?
for $1.
Yeah, let me share. $1.13
Oh yeah.
in the kit. It has the Osmo monitor, the Watch monitor, and it has the VGA output. You can plug in a PS2 keyboard,
Did
and you have an Apple One basic. Crazy.
did you did you share that once before?
No,
No. Seems like
Why not?
I've seen that from somewhere.
no, but there is one with the ESP32, but it's a terminal, a BT100 terminal, but it's like $10 or so. This is new.
Omex.
They use a RISC-V
Okay.
eight pins microcontroller for everything, to generate the video, to read the keyboard, and to simulate the microcontroller.
Where is it?
Crazy, crazy.
Oh,
Let me share the.
Is the transistor just to drive that buzzer?
I don't know, maybe a regulator. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. That'd fit 5 volt, though I'd think that would have been closer to the barrel jack.
Yeah, yeah, I thought that. Okay, but maybe. So it needs 5 volts. Let me check.
I've got 5 volts.
I got 5 volts.
It's open source.
The price is right, but you got to get it
Yeah.
from Europe, right? It's coming from.
I don't know.
Well, it's
It's a dollar. It's $1.13 a pound, or a pound, not a dollar. It's a pound.
that's not a pound.
Olimex is a company that sells boards. So
Yeah.
the problem may be the shipping. And the link in. I will put the link here. In the chat.
I got that board from
Me too.
TT
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah.
It's an
This
old
is
board. I don't
yeah.
think I've ever used that. I think that's been sitting in a box. It's got the
Me
SD
neither.
card.
Mine is in the back still.
Yeah.
But this board use a mouse and a keyboard. PS2. Yeah.
Yeah. VGA connector, audio, and an ESP32, I think. I think that's what that is. But supposedly you could program that too. I mean with in basic and whatever.
I think that Adafruit has the board. I'm not sure. Well, they have it in a blog. No, it's a blog. It's not in the store. If it is open source, maybe the AliExpress will have it soon. I have the place of the store. This is Olimex,
Yep.
and the price is €1.
1
Right.
euro.
It's a kit to solder. You have all the parts. If you how to order, add to the basket, proceed to checkout. Country. USA.
USA.
Sorry.
You missed it. It was there.
Yep.
It is.
Down.
This is the
Up above
Just
Ven-
above
Uganda.
Venezuela.
Up above
Here.
Venezuela. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, next.
You probably gotta click on the I have read and agreed.
Yep. Deal with all the red stuff.
Oh, and then of course they want you to put everything in there.
Sorry. See, no, I don't want to fill it. But maybe they have distributors somewhere. What's the name of it?
Well, I just looked on DigiKey. They don't have it. So it's an RVPC.
DigiKey used to be a distributor of Olimex, right?
Yeah, they do sell OMX stuff, but they don't have that.
Okay. This is
So-
new, I think. Product notification. No, thank you.
And Mauser doesn't. Mauser has a couple of kits. That's not this. That's not the right kit. That's not the right kit. They're cheap. It's not the right kit, but they do have a couple of.
Okay, so I filled it all out. Um,
How much?
€3 for the 3 chips. Shipping is €22.44. So a
Okay.
total of €25.44.
You are buying 3 kits or
Probably not for €25.
Mauser has it for
Ah,
$1.31.
yeah?
Um,
Oh, Hauser.
let's see.
I just bought something from Mauser yesterday.
And view the cart. It does not look like there's a tariff on it. It looks like their shipping is $8, but Mauser does have it.
Okay. Nice. Yes, $1.31.
Yeah. So
Nice. They have 20 in stock.
well, $8 shipping is cheaper than $22 shipping
Yeah.
by a good chunk.
by a good chunk. And at least
I can buy if 3 of them and I distribute in the next meeting. But you pay me $5 for each.
oh, is that how this is going to work? Mm,
No, I buy 3
yeah,
plus the shipping
that would be
divided by 3.
yeah.
Agree?
I'll bring some money. I'll bring some money.
Yeah,
My
me too.
my nephew just sent me a picture of his neighbor's house, and this is
Wow.
Oops.
Not a good weekend.
no,
Yeah.
that's more than a weekend project. They've
The house fell about the tree or the tree above the house?
I'm sorry, didn't hear you.
No, this is a tree
Tree, yes,
over the house, garage or whatever.
crashed into it, and they've already cut off a number of limbs there, but
Yeah, yeah. Wow.
Where is this?
my nephew lives in Kansas City, and this is his neighbor. Apparently, a storm came through.
Wow.
You got the end of a branch there, the end there, and an end there, and then over here.
Yeah.
I'm thinking this was an oh shit moment.
Yeah.
Definitely qualifies. Was this a tornado or what?
No, I think it was just a big wind.
So that was just a branch off the tree, or that was the whole tree?
Well, best I can tell, the whole tree fell, and a large portion of it went through the roof. Because you can see how much they've cut off of the tree itself.
Yeah.
So the next important question, was the tree on this guy's property or was it on the neighbor's property? Whose tree was it? Did he destroy his own house or did his neighbor destroy his house?
I don't know. I think it was his own tree because my
Ooh.
nephew dragged these plywood pieces down there and
Yeah.
nailed it over the top just to cover the hole. He didn't do
It's
anything.
the backyard, right? Looks like the backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has a small shed at the end.
Yeah, they couldn't even put a tarp over it because the hole was too big. Okay,
As long as it wasn't raining.
well, I'm sure it has been raining. Okay.
So this is when you start arguing with the insurance company.
There isn't too much to argue about. There's a big ass hole in my roof.
No, but what they'll find some reason to not
Oh,
allow.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tree
Probably
hadn't been
just
properly
big
assessed
hole.
by an arborist within the last 12 years.
You don't have a tree alarm installed?
Okay. That's what I'm looking for.
I just got an email. AliExpress misses me.
Oh yeah.
They want me.
Sure.
They want me to come back and
Sure.
shop.
Yeah.
So,
They need you.
I know Patty's making dinner, so it's almost 7. We are
Yeah.
we are live, and I will bring toys and giveaways and stuff. So seriously, if you know somebody that is just getting into this stuff, it'll be a good deal
Westchester.
for them if they come and get stuff. So,
Okay.
Okay.
but
Westchester,
I'll bring yes, Westchester. I'll bring the books and I'll bring a little bit of actual money,
Same.
Okay.
and maybe we could do dinner afterwards and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. I
So-
hope so.
Yay.
I hopefully we'll see everybody next week.
Sounds good. Thank you much.
We'll see you
Bye-bye.
later.
Very good.
See you.
Bye. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
And
Have a
bye
good
Bonds.
week.